So they've got their pad in for the house that's being built over here. They dumped quite a bit of dirt. And that's the pad. It is about 2 feet higher than it's supposed to be. And that's what they wanted. Strangely enough, they don't have enough dirt for over here, which is about 2 feet lower than it should be. I did come out this morning and dump 2 more loads of dirt there, and I'm assuming that's going to be for the driveway, which means it's going to drop down, which is, I'm hoping they're going to come in and put in some more dirt because, well, for starters, they took some of mine with them. Quite a lot down by the road. So that happened. I had to basically stand here and protect my property line to keep them from coming all the way over to here. Now, this property owner is trying to claim 4 feet of my property and 4 feet of the neighbor's property, and has actually done quite a bit of destruction on the edges of the property that should never have occurred. I had to move a lot of things, and this is my food, what was a little food forested area that was shaded by the oak trees that were there. So now I've got to completely redo this side. It wasn't visible from the street, and it was more organized than this. All of these pots were actually on the edge of my property. Unfortunately, they did get moved. And I look down my fence, and it's kind of hard to see from here, but they hit my fence in like 3 different places and broke 2 of the structural boards, the 4x4s that hold everything up. So now I've got to fix that. So that's fun. I had a bunch of stuff stored here, and I managed to get that out of here. Not entirely sure where I'm going to put it, but it was mostly supplies to redo this area anyway, such as this tub right here, and all these here. So this whole area is going to get redone. The longevity spinach just growing over there won't make it through the summer heat, so I need to get cuttings of that. And I've got plans to plant down the edge here, because really I don't want direct access to the side of my house here, just by having people have the ability to walk, and that was blocked by the woods. So I'm going to plant essentially a food hedge. I'm going to start at the corner of that fence, and I'm going to go all the way down to the road where that AT&T pole is. I've got enough stuff already set aside for that. I'd planned on building a hedge somewhere else along the back of the property, but I guess it's going to go here instead. And I'll put that container tub, I'm going to sink that, because that's a pond liner, down in the ground here and make a little fountain. And if I can find the parts that I have, there'll be a little lighthouse here. Maybe I can get a nice bench to go over here. All of these have got to go, and I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to put them at the moment. I need to move them soon though, before it gets too hot and everything gets cooked. I'm going to run that veg basically solid right to here, or as close to solid as I can, where people can't get through. I got one tree that's going to go back there because I want to shade the side of the house. And then I'll continue down this section. But I'm not going to really be able to continue through here until there's enough dirt, because they took away dirt that, well, wasn't theirs. And I don't know if they're planning on putting it back. I don't want a big trench here, and that's actually a lot of dirt. I mean, that's a lot of dirt that needs to be replaced. I mean, the whole section kind of downslopes now, and there's a couple foot drop easy. I did manage to keep them from taking down my loquat. I basically had to stand next to it most of the time and keep the guy from taking it out. For some reason they came up into here and they took all my topsoil. It took 5 years to build that topsoil, so that sucks a lot. There was quite a few things that were dormant in there that are just gone. So this entire ecosystem that was here has been destroyed by the activity of this guy building over here. And I'm fearing that what's going to happen is they're going to build the absolute biggest possible structure over here that the city will allow. We'll see. That's been the trend with a lot of the houses that have been going up, is they build the biggest possible home that the city will allow on that lot. And you end up with a big house and virtually no yard. The only yard that you actually end up having is basically where the septic is. And after talking to the guy that's actually doing this project, which I can say I don't really care for, seems like he wants to try to bully me and the other neighbors, come up from Miami and act like he's a big shot builder. You can't really do that when that guy over there is a builder, builds 15 to 20 homes a year. I've been in construction for over 20 years. I've done just about everything you can possibly do. And this guy's asking for rather hardcore, what you'd call favors. You know, he offered me a very small amount of money for access to my water, and that ain't happening. I did ask a couple questions before I made that decision, and no, it's just not happening. I asked him exactly what purposes for the water he was going to want, and you know, this is most likely going to be a block home, so I figured he'd say for mixing mortar, or maybe mixing some stucco mud, or maybe when they get to a point where they need to be able to mix for tile, thin set, things like that. And that's in itself a lot of water, but not enough to be like, oh my god. But no, his response was, well, I want to have access to water so that I can do the slab. Well, that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water right up front. And even though I'm on a well and I don't pay for my water, I pay for the electricity to pump that water out of the ground. And that would get extremely expensive very fast. Way more than he was offering. Well pump is just like running an air conditioner as far as how much electricity it pulls while it's running. So having somebody run out that much water to be able to do a foundation, no, I don't think so. Not to mention here, because Florida is always a pain when it comes to how they want you to build things. They want you to build it to code. Don't exceed code. You exceed code, that's problematic. But for doing a foundation, at least in this area, it's different in a couple other different spots here in Florida, but in this spot they want a monolithic slab where the slab and the foundation is poured all as one, which means trucks. So that's going to happen eventually, and he doesn't have a choice in that matter. He's going to have to do that. But so far, he hasn't actually pulled any permits. I checked online and there are no permits pulled for this project as of yet. There was a dock box and now there's a new one. The first dock box got taken out by the guy clearing the land, which is down there in the pile of trash that was on my property that we had to move off after almost 2 weeks of it sitting on the corner of my property and nobody coming by and cleaning it up. We just moved it on to that lot, which still nobody's been here to pick it up. You might see a difference here between this lot and say this lot over here. You see that porta-john sitting over there? That is required here for the construction crews, specifically so they don't go bother local businesses or local houses. I don't use them. I'll go to the grocery store or the convenience store and use theirs. But that has to be here before the project even starts. Now, you see that dumpster, those have to come in before the slab is poured. This is code. This is required in my area. There's no exception to the matter. Even somebody who builds the house themselves has to jump through these hoops. This guy, so far the only thing he's done that is proper is putting in this right here. And I think he only did it because the neighbors over there told him to do so. It's also common to have to do that down in the Miami area, so he's probably akin to that. This is the house pad, and as you can see, there's plenty of area toward the back where it drops down to what it's actually supposed to be. And then they really haven't filled here, but you know, it's not final grade, so they might come in after they have the house partially or mostly built and fill out this area. Most likely this is going to be where their septic tank and drain field's going to go. So we'll see on that, because this actually has a bad situation where, see, here is code. You can't have your well within, I believe it's 75 feet of a drain field or septic tank, which becomes quite problematic when Down this side of the property is my drain field, back behind that fence, just inside the hedgerow that I'm building over there. And over there, between the black border that they have going and that van, is his septic tank. And he has some drain field there and some drain field behind that fence, running between the fence and the house, which means he can't really have a well properly dug here. The only possible spot he might be able to pull off is way back over there in that back corner area, maybe. And mathematically, with it being 75-ish feet that it has to be from, there is nowhere on this lot that he can actually have a well. He can have septic. So he's got a choice of trying to put his well right here on this bottom corner, or his septic, and then the reverse over there. Now, it's going to have to be, for the well, either right in that corner or right over there in that corner. And if you take actual measurements from where my septic tank and drain field lies and his septic tank and drain field lies, there is really nowhere to put a well. And it's got to be 75 feet from anybody else's, which really, in the terms of groundwater, is not far enough away. But that's something they're going to have to do. They're going to have to figure it out, and then the city's going to have to approve it. And if he doesn't get his permits, or at least have them underway, there's going to be some serious problems here. So, thanks for listening to me ramble about the strangeness of this particular situation. There's his new doc box. Still no documents in it. I looked online for my city and my county, and there's nothing on record as of yet. And he's going ahead and building anyway. So this is going to be fun. A couple of neighbors have already turned him into the city, so we'll see how that goes. It might be a stop on work. He might get fined. Who knows? In this city, if you bribe the right people, they'll look the other way. Gotta love corrupt government.